Hello and welcome in our space, Lucida. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. Lucida is a whole new fantasy world where K-pop and only K-pop is our main, where you discover dark and blurry sides of K-pop that you never knew how creepy it is before. Theories where you're drawn deep inside K-pop more and more. Only in your Lucida. Disclaimer. Listen. We are here to entertain you. This is based on a very basic research and some random unknown opinions on the internet. So don't take it too seriously. My theories are theories, not facts. So grab a drink, take a deep breath, and let's start our K-pop tour. Let's start our discussion with the first question that came to my mind. Why contract exists in our world in the first place? In fact, it exists when one party, here is Korean entertainment companies, makes an offer, which is training, management, etc, etc, and the other party, which is the auditioner who passed the audition successfully, accepts it. This contract's validation comes from the agreement between the two parties, what creates some sort of obligation on both of them. But in our case, we don't really have an usual contract. It's a contractual enslavement. Why? Keep watching. A K-pop slave contract. What it is? It refers to an unfair, long-time contract which is 7 years plus between Korean idols and their management agencies. In some cases, the idols may not get paid enough for even their living expenses, working for 20 plus hours a day for consecutive years. And I specify idols, not trainees, because trainees don't get paid at all.
Remind you guys, all companies are so different. It's really different for each, and it goes by case. Not to mention the big three companies are way different. For me personally, I literally had no money as a trainee, and it was very difficult to get a part-time job just because, you know, the trainee life is literally from morning till night. It's like a 12-hour job every single day. Sometimes you get the weekends off. So a lot of trainees, or most of them, you guys live off of your parents' allowance. I do remember some of my friends getting part-time jobs, like at a cafe, if they do have a really bad family situations. It happens. So some of my friends would go, you know, work at a cafe in the morning. They come around like lunchtime, and then we would all train together.
This is bad. This is extremely bad. However, what the company offers you instead of this all hard work, training, fame, think of how much the average person must pay for lessons in singing, dancing, language learning, etc. Imagine covering costs of housing, transportation, meals, clothing, makeup artists, costuming, photography, and personal management, contracts for appearance, connections with broadcasting, radio, and television companies, the government, manufacturers of various products for advertisements. All these are necessary in order to help a young singing group earn money. Somebody has to set all that up. It is expensive, it takes time, and it means that the company is dependent on creating responsible, loyal employees. They use your need of money in early age and connection to succeed in life. But in the end of the day, K-pop agencies don't do charity, right? You have to pay back every cent. That's why idols don't make a lot of money through several years, paying back their debts. Years has passed with not truly knowing the terms of these contracts. But what all people know is the dating ban. So let's discover other obligations idols have talked about.
많은 분들께서 이제 YG 밖에서 YG를 바라보셨을 때는 굉장히 자유마음, 굉장히 뭐 꼴찌 먹고 그냥 약속대로 다 해. 이런 분이 이제
엑셀방에 약간 좀 그런 것들 뭐 뷰를 이런 것들 YG는 뭐 약간
안에서는 사실 굉장히 뷰리 엄청납니다.
연예인도 있고,
연예인도 있고,
금지 상태요?
네, 금지 상태. 뭐 숙소에 이제 있다가 집에 편의점 나갈 때마저도 보고를 해야 되면서 편의점에서 팬께서 굉장히 신경을 많이 쓰세요.
네.
그게 약간 예전부터 그런 거예요? 아니면 또 바뀐 거예요?
요즘 되다 보니까 좀더 좀 강해진 것 같아요.
아 그래요? 그거에 대한 불만?
불만이 없습니다.
혹시 차 없어요?
저희 또 운전면허 다른 것도 안 해요.
그래요? 아예 그래도 사고가 날수 있어요.
눈치를 원래 제가 잘 안 보고 살았었는데 눈치를 볼 수밖에 없는 게 할 수 없어요. 네, 일단 블랙핑크 애들이랑 못 만나요. 공룡들 인사를 방송에 불만이 있다고.
Might I remind you that YG Entertainment has copyrighted its artist's name just to prevent them from leaving the company and profit off of said given name, from G-Dragon to Lisa. If any of these idols leave YG Entertainment, they would not have the ownership of the name and said branding, not even names. YG Entertainment also stopped artists from releasing their own music. CL from 21 had not been able to release her own song for many years and only have been able to release them after leaving YG. And even then, YG deleted her YouTube account. Can we also add diet and plastic surgery? But not every idol had a procedure, right? So why K-pop idols tend to have gone under the knife? In fact, this is gonna be my next video's topic. So with all this term and more unknown, do you think is it worth it? If you believe this is cruel, let me tell you that the enslavement doesn't really come because of these restrictive terms. wait till the other part of the video to know. So let's come back to why there is such bans that seem sometimes like meaningless or so restrictive for their freedom. In one hand, I believe that the dating ban is made in the first place to maintain the image of purity and innocence, especially that K-pop groups cover the cute concept in their early years after debut. The second reason is focusing 100% on their careers and not get affected by the huge love and affection they will get and receive afterwards. But that's not all. Dating ban feed the fans' imagination, which is more important, and make groups that just debut wanted and lead to the feeling of possession and obsession in many ways. The whole thing is based on selling the friend, the boyfriend, the girlfriend image to the mass. They know what we need. Our generation tend to isolation day after day, but our social instinct is still here, and they deeply know that. So instead of looking for new friends to speak to when you feel sad or depressed, you go watch your favorite group or bias funny moment or their envy, their V-lives, listen to their music. This is actually hard to believe, but as close as they are so far away. These other bands made them unreachable, as if they are not human anymore, more a fictional, a manga, a manhwa character, or maybe dolls. How? We already said that the enslavement doesn't really come with these restrictive terms. In fact, it comes with the training, the harsh training. I mean, first term of this contract is obviously train hard, like if your life depends on it, because it really does. Basically, the training is training people who had auditioned successfully to become an idol. And for that, the training is all about learning to sing, to dance, basics and acting languages, learn about their facial expressions, try to improve them, give them personalities, or just like the vibe that they have to give an innocent or a cold guy or a pure girl or girl crush. And then that doesn't mean that the idols are 100% fake. No, I don't mean that. I mean that they are given these vibes or these personalities at the first because they know what people want. So as a rookie group, you want attention, so you have to give people what they want to see. That's why. But like with time, they start showing their true personalities, and we have seen so many special personalities in K-pop that were really different, like Suga of BTS, Dio of EXO, and many others. The training process is known to be long and grueling. Upcoming stars may train up to 16 hours a day. This leaves very little time for sleep, resting, visiting family if they are living far away from them. Furthermore, training can last up to a decade, not for all idols.
Normal day before I debut, I would wake up at 5:30 and we'd have to go out to run at the Hangang River. We'd run 13 kilometers, have a shower, get dressed and go to the dance studio right away.
You haven't eaten anything then?
Haven't eaten anything yet.
Right.
And our first meal is at 12 o'clock. So we dance till 12 o'clock. So our meal will be ready by 12 o'clock.
So you don't get a choice when you're eating, do you?
Yeah,
So
so
you
that's
just
the company decides. We eat, and after that is when we have a little bit of rest. And at about 1:30, vocal classes and rap classes and stuff during that time in the afternoon. And after that, for me, that was my time to learn Korean. And after that is dinner time. After dinner, back to the dance studio and we dance till 1 or 2 a.m.
So you go from 5 in the morning to 1 a.m.
To 1, yeah. I've been doing that for 2 years.
2 years, right.
2 years. And I ran twice in really hard pouring snow, and we started to run after 13 kilometers, and yeah, it's intense.
After the training, idols finally get their chance to debut. However, life doesn't get easier for them. They are under total control of the company.
눈치를 원래 제가 잘 안 보고 살았었는데 눈치를 볼 수밖에 없는 게
생기는구나.
이게 이제 눈치를 안 보고 살아서 이제 행동했던 것들이 그걸로 가지고 이제 혼나고 이제 뭐 이거 잘못된 거야라고 이제 말을 하더라고요.
썸에 금지가 있으니까.
그렇지.
These idols are the investments of companies. An investment is like a property, and idols are properties of their companies. Unfortunately, most K-pop idols don't make any significant amount of money, especially in the early years after debut, because they must pay off their debts.
Hence the reason why when I said it's not a great idea to always just use what the company gives you, such as the food, the transportations, the dorms, because at the end of the day, technically, like, they're going to ask back for you. And they're going to ask you for thousands of dollars, and you're going to be like, whoa, I have to pay for this? Wait, what? So let's talk about after debut. This is the part where it gets crazy and tricky. So let's talk about the different ways an entertainer, a K-pop idol, could make money besides just, music. You have the gigs, such as like the variety shows, maybe the music shows, and then you have the royalties if you do write music. But your music has to be in like the top hundreds in order for you to even get any money, because if it's not, I mean, it's literally probably a couple cents. And you have the hangs out, we call it hangs out in Korean, aka, you perform at a festival, at a school event, and you have radio. Sometimes, when you go on radios, you do get paid a little bit for being a guest, or if you're the main MC, that's great. If you cannot make any money from this, I mean, that's where we run into the troubles of becoming a poor entertainer even after you debut. So I know a lot of my friends who have gotten into part-time jobs after debuting in the industry for years because they just never got the spotlight, and you need to make some kind of living, right? Rookies, first of all, this is when you don't get paid anything. So as a rookie, you usually stand on stages for free, countless time, even sometimes up to a year, until you kind of get that spotlight from the public. And then when people notice you, then people will have a demand for you. That's when you start to make a little bit of money. Also, this happens to about 99% of the artists. We're pretty much never informed, which we're supposed to be, but we're never informed about how much the gigs are, how much we make. Like, it is totally not transparent. I don't even know how much I made for, like, in total at all. I don't know how much my gigs were. There were some things that I heard here and there, but I've never seen it, in order for me to really know.
Let's hear the story of J Park.
They had an audition in Seattle for like a Korean company. It's called JYP. And then I didn't really, me growing up in the States and kind of only listening to, American music, didn't really have any interest in doing anything in Korea or music in Korean. But she was like, go audition for this thing. And I was like, I didn't know what it was. And I thought kind of was like a contest, like if you get first prize, like you get money or something.
Yeah.
And so I just went there, I just did like a little rap I wrote, and then I just kind of like put on some music, I freestyled, and I kind of dipped and I went and got Taco Bell basically. I still remember this very vividly. And then, because I wasn't really interested in like the results or whatever. And then my mom kind of stayed till the end, and they're like, yo, we want to cast your son or whatever.
What?
And so basically they told me, they're like, yo, we want you to come to Korea and train and be a part of this boy group. And then, they're kind of telling me all this shit, like, oh, like, with this shit, like, we have these guys and these artists and they made this much last year. And
Yeah.
so, and then, okay, I'll go there and just make some money and come back. That was like my sign, just have my family out,
Right. Yeah.
And so I went over there, and then, I basically trained for about like 3.5 years. Like we got like vocal training and like dance training all the time. Almost like just it was artist development.
Like a boot camp
kind of like a boot camp basically. Yeah.
They want you to be on point though.
Yeah. And it helped in a lot of ways, but it also killed like my passion and like my creativity in a lot of ways as well.
understand that.
I see. It's kind of like programming almost.
Yeah.
Sing it like this, do it like this, do it. So it's like you lose your individuality.
And you were practicing for like 8 hours, 10 hours.
And then
a day,
I noticed
right?
myself, like, I stopped listening to music. I stopped writing lyrics. Like, I was just like, okay, just, And then so, but I was like, I was determined to, like, really, at first it was really hard, I'm not gonna front, like, I like cried and, like, I did all that.
It's probably stressful.
It was, when you get, like, certain lyrics wrong or you get, like, a certain dance move wrong, they would, like, literally hit you.
Oh,
You know what I'm
shit.
saying? So that's kind of like the Korean way,
Yeah.
It's not like that now. It's much better now. But back then, they were like, he's like, let's say, like, this is the moves, like, you like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and they wouldn't do that to me because like I was very good at dancing. So like, but I would see like I'd see this dude next to me.
But the homie?
The dude next to me, he's getting some shit wrong. He's getting his ass whipped. I'm like, oh my god, okay,
Yeah, that would definitely kill my spirit.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's kind of like oh, what's going on here? And so
You were training for 2 years.
so I was training for 3.5 years, 2005 to 2008, and then we debuted 2008, and then 2009. That's when this stuff happened. That's when I got cut from the group. 2010 is when I got back.
When did you sit there for a moment and think like, hold up, like this is, because I mean at first you were being naive, you're like, I'm about to just do this, make some money.
Yeah.
But then when was the moment where you're like I'm really on? Like I'm on right now.
Even that, it's like I never felt like I'm like, oh, I'm on, like, because even though there's a lot of people noticing us on TV, like everything was done for us, everything was made for us. So I feel like even though I trained and I didn't feel like it was like I could claim it. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I didn't feel like, oh, this is something I did, this is something that I achieved. Like no, it didn't feel like that fulfilling.
Seller is a disbanded group revealed to No Cut News that 4 of them would often share one meal together because they had little to no income at all. You may ask, why idols don't leave this rigid and restrictive job? The sad reality is most of them cannot leave because they don't have the funds to get out of their contracts. In other words, idols become enslaved. Sometimes these contracts can last over 7 years. Unfortunately, these contracts tend to benefit the company by exploiting idols. And we have a concrete example of this with Chris, Luhan, and Tao, former EXO members. You may think, why people consider this as enslavement? In fact, not everybody. Let's see the other side of the story. To the Western world, the tendency is to value freedom over everything else. Those entering the industry give up their freedom in order to hope for success, stability, and security in their lives, with the chance at freedom if they become successful. It's not uncommon for a person to invest a decade before being allowed to go solo in Korea. It's not uncommon for the few most popular members to get all the limelight and the rest to be stuck in a group performance obscurity. After all of this discussion, I mean, why do you think Korean youth still go through all this hardship and sign the contract even though they knew all of this can happen to them? In fact, you sign these contracts because you probably have been told your whole life that you are not good enough, that you'll never be good enough, that you'll never be successful in any kind of way. You sign these contracts because they give you a perspective. It's your way to be something, to become something. In Korea, you are told 24/7 you have to work harder than you do, that you have to study harder than you do, that you have to be better than you are, that you have to be completely alike to the society's idea of a human. Signing these contracts gives you a way to finally make the people proud, to finally fulfill all the expectations. You are finally going to be good enough. And if you once had a glimpse on this dream, you never had enough, you will do anything to become this idealized human everyone seems to expect you to be. You will do anything to one day eventually be enough. because the hope that one day someone will finally anticipate your hard work, acknowledge it, that someday your best is not just alright, it's completely intoxicating. It seems too good to be real. It seems so good that you'll happily leave all your independence, humanity behind you just to fulfill your new dream. At some point, you just don't care about your well-being anymore. You're desperate. All you care about is whether you can reach the high expectations set by society and you yourself. Nothing else. Finally, to end this video, I want to elaborate more about Kpop. I mean, to be honest, Kpop literally sells fantasies to the audience through their idols via fan meetings, etc. They make you feel that you have developed a special bond with that idol and that you can have control over his or her life. You're affecting someone. To be brutally honest here, the idols know what they are getting themselves into. Like, they know K-pop isn't just about music and dance, it's more than just that, which focuses on how you look and how close bonds you make with your fans in order to be successful. And they end up signing up for this idol life while knowing all the pros and cons to this successful life. I think it should go like 50-50%, like fans should understand, but then companies should also literally stop selling fantasies. To that end, to this video, I just want to thank everybody that found his comment in the script of this video, because like it's not 100% what I wrote. It is comments and posts of people all over the internet, and I want to thank them for the so like interesting way they were discussing their opinions in a very objective and very humble and kind way, and I think I was agreeing with these opinions. That's why I wouldn't like to write it myself, because it's not gonna be like that. So I just like read them for you guys, and this is the messages that I hope spread between K-pop fans all over the world. Thank you so much for watching this video. Happy New Year!